What's up, pre-order guys and gals? So, what you're looking at is a lot of hardware. That's more hardware ordered at one time than I've ever ordered in my entire career as a knife maker. Because I usually just make, at the most I'm making at any given point 10 knives at a time. So I never need 100 pivots at a time. I never need 50 thumb studs at a time. So you would not believe how much all this costs. It would blow your mind. It blows my mind every time I have to buy it. So 100 pivots, all the pivots we need. 50 thumb studs. They're a bit pricey, so I had to space it out a little bit. 50 thumb studs. 50 thumb stud connecting screws. This is 30 pairs of bearings. 30. Yeah, that's right. I gotta get a lot more of those. That is 26 sets of standoffs and stop pins. So I have to get more of those too. But it's a very good start. This is 750 screws. 750. And you know what the crap part is? They're not the right screws. Oh, you bet these people got a very nasty email from me. And if they do not respond well to my very nasty email, they get a very nasty phone call. I am not pleased one bit. So the whole reason that I order screws from this particular place, which I shall not name at the moment until they truly piss me off, is because when I order these screws, they are usually T9 drive screws. Those of you who know about your Torx bits, T9 is a fairly big bit, and it does a very great job of not stripping out, which I really like. So you can really crank the screws down, which is advantageous in a knife because then they don't fall out. Whenever I have used T6, that's what these are, T6 drive screws, because you simply cannot put that much torque on them, otherwise they strip out, or I find I bend the actual tip of the drive mechanism. Yes, I bend T6 bits. You just can't screw them as tight, and so they fall out. I've had them fall out all the time. And actually, I was running out of T9 drive screws, so I used a bunch of T6 bits on some knives I sent out, and it was a pain in the ass. I had to go through and Loctite every single screw. Ugh, aggravating. But, so the screws that are on, that will be on the Pretiums are T9, because I like T9. It's just a far better drive size, and they fit nicely on these screws, and they look nice. That's why I like them. That's why I thought I ordered them, but apparently, even though it is listed on their website as a T9, I got a bag of T6 drive 1/4 inch screws. Mildly upsetting. In fact, if you allow me to vent a bit, I'm also a little upset about the spanner head screws that I got from them. Now, I like these spanner head screws because unlike the normal ones I have that you have to have a spanner tool to tighten, which is one of the reasons why I usually put just a regular screw on the backside. But because I've often said, wouldn't it be great if they had some sort of Torx drive in the middle of a spanner head? And then lo and behold, as if they were reading my mind, they made one, which you can't see. There's a lovely T9 Torx drive in the middle of it. Wonderful, I said. Fantastic. I'll take all of them. No, I didn't say that, but I bought quite a few, more than I would use in a month, and only to find that whoever does their machining for them, whoever they get to these things, I assume it is China, they are 5/1000ths of an inch too small. The diameter of the threaded part is 5/1000ths of an inch too small. Now you're thinking 5/1000ths of an inch is pretty small, Elliot, and you are right. It is very small. The only problem is it is just small enough so that when you actually put a little bit of torque onto that screw, right, and that's going on my pivot screw, right, they pull right out of the threads, and so you have no screw there. Really, really annoying. And as a matter of fact, they are so small that when you drill and tap a hole, like I do for the officially licensed Hinder lock bar stabilizer, that's right, it's officially licensed. When you do that, they just go in and out. Nothing there. Because when you drill and tap titanium, you cannot drill and tap it at the actual 75% thread hole. You can't. It's very, very difficult. You end up snapping a lot of taps doing it. You can have tough thumbs about how that was going. That's one of the reasons why he kept snapping taps, is because nobody told him that when you drill and tap for a 256 screw in titanium, you actually have to drill a slightly larger hole. Otherwise, you're just going to break taps all day long. I thought everybody knew that. Apparently you didn't. So it's a 5/30 seconds hole, and that means that it's actually a 25% thread. Now that works fantastic with the original spanner head screws that I have loved and used for basically on every folding knife I've ever made. But for their new ones, because they are 5/1000ths of an inch too small, they actually you can just put them in and out like there's nothing there, just like a through hole. So that was really, really annoying to me when I discovered that little quirk, having had these for a while but never actually tried to put them into use until I did that, and I was very, very disappointed and quite angry, actually. Since we're here sitting at the desk, I figured I'd show you this. Just finish this guy up. You'll be the first to see it. I haven't actually shot I have shot the video of it, I just haven't uploaded it. And it's finished form. Pretty nice knife. Some of my better work. And then a very interesting package came in the mail, before we get to other things I wanted to show you. Some fixed blades that I had done years ago. So this one is from the beginning of 2012. That one's actually the most recent, the dirtiest, most beat up one. That is probably the newest knife of the bunch. And I made that right at the tail end of last year. This was in November, because I went camping in November. I needed a camp knife, so I made one. Excuse me, I can tell that the owner of this knife really likes this knife and carries it a lot because it is beat to hell. But it is still maintained edgewise. Still sharp, but beat to hell. And for a hard use knife, that's a good sign. That means somebody likes this knife, and they take this knife with them and they use the crap out of it. I could also tell by all the residue that was on the handle. It was just covered in residue, which means that somebody was using this wearing gloves out in the woods. There was encrusted sap and dirt and stuff all over it, and that usually means that this knife got used a lot. So that's back in the shop. Good to see you again. Hello, mate. I have a little love affair with that knife. We made this one a while ago. This was way back in the beginning of 2012. Not a bad looking knife. Elmax steel, titanium bolsters and pommel. This is actually green and black dyed box elder burl, stabilized of course. It has glow in the dark. Can you see them on the camera? Little glow in the dark dots in it, as requested. Yeah. I just found a picture of this and put it up on my website a couple of months ago. Because it actually is a very nice looking knife. Not bad. So it's been a walk down memory lane. So the guy got these from the man who I made them for, and he sold all of his knives because of a family emergency he needed some cash for. So we actually sold them all really, really, really cheap. And this is one that I made especially for that person. It has his initials on it. This is S90V. I believe he actually carried this knife on duty with him. Interesting design. I don't know if I'd ever do it again. It's not particularly practical. There's not much you can do with these serrations. While they are sharp, they really serve no purpose. They're fairly vestigial. I mean, there's just nothing you can do with them. They're not going to do much for you. I tell people all the time serrations are fairly useless, and people argue with me all the time. No, they're not. What if you need to, I don't know, cut some rope or something? I fail to see how a properly maintained edge, straight edge, non-serrated edge, I fail to see how that will not cut rope better than serrations. And I've done tests and stuff like that just to prove my own point to myself, and And yeah, the only thing that serrasians are better at than a straight blade is cutting polypropylene rope. That is it. Because polypropylene does not slice well. It is actually very abrasive resistant. And it's abrasion resistant and cut resistant, which is why it gets used in big mooring lines and things like that for ships and whatnot. But yeah, super durable rope. That polypropylene. Only thing, but polypropylene is hard to cut with anything. So I'm not talking about little tiny like stuff that you take camping with. I'm talking like big boy polypropylene rope. The big stuff. Like you got to go to a marine shop to buy it, not Home Depot. Anyway, I'm rambling on incoherently. So these are all back here because I am going to snazzy them up a little bit. I'm gonna pimp my own knives. And this is one he sent back. This is an old friend of mine. I used to carry this knife before I made folders. This was my EDC before I made my first folding knife. I loved this knife. We went a great many places together. We did a great many things together. An old friend. Still very sharp too. Can't recall quite what this is made of. It's either D2 or S30V. I don't recall having D2 that thin, but I might have. This was made in 2011. Early 2011. So it's quite old, you know, considering the age of my other stuff. But anyway, that was just stuff, a little walk down memory lane. Figured I wanted to show you guys something really important because it finally arrived. The wait is over. The debacle with Bullerudelholm has been solved. They have finally sent me a giant piece of Elmax. Yes, it's very big, and that's going to weigh way more than 100 blades, so I'll have some extra left over for other projects in the future. Yeah, it's huge. It's 55 pounds of Elmax. Very nice. And also, this showed up too, and I don't know what that happened with there, but great. Elmax doesn't go to waste in my shop, for sure. And that is titanium. That is about, I don't know, 2/5. Yeah, 2/5 is the titanium I actually need to make all 100 of the knives. I'm going to acquire that this week, so I can have it all in my hot little hands. But there it is. That is the raw materials of the Pretiums right there. And the next time you see them, they will look significantly more like knives, because these are going to go to waterjet tomorrow. And hopefully by the end of the week I'll have them all back. Well, I'll have the parts cut out of existing material back. I'll have to send them more titanium. But it's exciting. It's a lot of steel. It's a lot of money in steel. But it's good things. It's good things. Very excited about that. As you should be too. It means we're one step closer. Here's the other step closer. Aluminum for machining to turn into fixture plates. There it is. That's going to happen this week as well. So we are ready to rock and roll when they return to me from waterjet. We can begin crafting some knives. It's what I enjoy anyway. So that is what is up here at Ferrum Forge. And that is your update video. I noticed that I didn't make one last week because there was nothing really to update. We were sort of in the same state. But now we have movement. So thank you again for being on the pre-order list. And this may be the last week that I have the pre-order list open. So if you have friends that are like, yeah, that's cool, I'm thinking about doing it too, you should tell them I better do it because I'm about to close it. Anyway, take care, pre-order people, and I'll be in touch.